Folks, Jim Jacobus, welcome to our webinar, how to get a 15-minute meeting with anybody and what to do when you get there. You might note very quickly, if you were on the live event, this is not a recording of the live event. After listening to it and taking a look at it, we had a couple of problems. One is the sound just wasn't what we wanted it to be. And two, it went a little bit longer than an hour. And so what we decided to do was to re-record it for you and to do two things. One is to make sure we had better sound quality, and two is to break it up into two separate webinars. The first one, how to get a 15-minute meeting with anybody, and the second one, what to do when you get in that meeting. So this will be a two-part webinar this time. It won't be live. I think you'll get better sound, and we'll be able to shorten it up a little bit so we won't take up an entire day of your time paying attention to the webinar. So that's our plan. Hope you enjoy it. Certainly welcome your feedback. And I'm going to try to remember some of the questions you asked during the previous webinar and answer those on this one. So our webinar is, again, how to get a 15-minute meeting with anyone. Start off with the quote that we always like to use in our training sessions. Learners will inherit the earth. That's you guys paying attention to webinars, podcasts, blogs, all kinds of things get better. Learners will inherit the earth, while the learned, those people who feel like they already know everything, will find themselves beautifully equipped to deal with a world that no longer exists because things change so fast. So we're glad to have you with us. That's a great quote by Eric Hoffer. And again, I just love starting off our training sessions and kind of preaching to the choir there because you're listening. So we're glad you're here, and we certainly want to make sure we provide some value to you in the minutes ahead. So, all right, 3 questions everybody has in mind when they join a webinar, sit in a training room. For those of you who are my speaker buddies, when somebody's sitting in the office, they always have 3 questions in mind. So I want to answer those. Question number 1, who is this guy? 2, why is he here? And 3, most important, why do I care? So I don't want to belabor those, but I do want to answer them for you very quickly. Who am I? First thing is, I'm a sales guy. Always have, always been, will be. I believe when done properly, it's one of the most honorable professions on the planet. Helping people buy products and services that help them improve their life or their business is about as cool as it gets as far as I'm concerned. So that's my background. I'm a sales guy, always have been. I have been a speaker, trainer, consultant for 22 years now. We started our business back in 1992, and I do mostly nowadays design, development, and delivery of large sales training and sales management initiatives. And I still do a lot of keynote work and a lot of consulting and everything, but our best work, if you will, is when we design large sales training programs. We've done that for people like PricewaterhouseCoopers, AkzoNobel, Southwest Airlines, Halliburton, all different kinds of folks that we design training programs for. Now, I'm also, as a part of this webinar, I'm owner of the salesgladiators.com, which is a resource for people who need to learn to sell more effectively in order to build their business or build their career. And that's kind of where we spend a lot of our times nowadays. If you get a chance to go over and check it out, have at it. Hope you enjoy it. A lot of free resources on there. So if you get a moment or two, go take advantage of checking that out. So that's a thumbnail sketch of who I am. Why am I here? Main thing is I want to give back. I believe in the current model of providing tons of great information for people in exchange for them allowing you to market to them. I learned that from Tom Antheon a while back. I see it today in folks like Jay Baer, Michael Hyatt, John Lee Dumas, Pat Flynn, on and on and on and on. Now, great models out there where they're just giving a lot of information. And being a member of the National Speakers Association, that is the culture of that great association I'm proud to be a member of, where people just have always given so much. I would not be here today if people hadn't certainly given me so many great ideas. And my appreciation to them is shown by turning around and doing the same thing for others. Okay. I'm here also because I care about you. Now that may sound a little fluffy or whatever, but at the end of the day, I do what I do because I like to help people build their sales careers. I like to see them build the life they want. And believe it or not, whether I know you very well or don't know you at all, I do care about you and I want you to be successful. I also trust, like I said, in that model that is really popular nowadays, where you just share tons and tons of great stuff and people want to follow you. So we hope you enjoy the webinar, and we hope you decide to follow us as well. And the last thing, I always learn from teaching. So being here doing this webinar means I'm going to learn something from you today. And I already have since we did the webinar earlier this morning, and now we're re-recording it for you. But I learned a lot just from working with you guys. So I always learn every time I teach something. Now, most important question, why do you care? A couple of reasons why. First thing is 90% of the salespeople that we train who have 10 years or more experience have less than 10 days of formal sales training. That just blows me away. People who are entrusted with the lifeblood of major corporations have less than 1 day a year of formal sales training in the area that is their expertise. And then if we start looking at folks like my consultant buddies, my speaker buddies who are on this call, other folks who don't even work for large corporations, the number of days of formal sales training is probably even less than that. So you should care because this is an opportunity to grow and get better. And we want to provide that for you today. Also, I told my son a long time ago that if you learn how to be really good at sales, you can go do anything you want. And sales is a very unique skill set to have. And we want to make sure that you gain some additional skill sets today. But if you decide to get really, really good at this, you can grow your business as large as you want to, whether that's a small entrepreneurial consultancy or whether it's a large corporation. You can turn it into what you want to. Also, again, I want you to have the career you want, whether that's a speaker, trainer, sales rep, whatever it happens to be, but also want you to have the life that goes with that. By being really successful at selling, you can design the life you want, and that's what I want for you. So bottom line, sales and selling is really tough. And we want to make that easier for you today. We want to provide some skill sets for you, not just today, but ongoing as well. So why should you care? It'll help you grow your business and in turn help you grow your life. All right, here's our agenda for the day, for our 2 sessions, if you will. We're going to do a very quick value-based selling lesson. Then I'm going to talk about some basic strategies for getting that 15-minute meeting, if you will. Then we're going to talk about the approach to that meeting. In other words, how do you set that up and how we're going to go about doing it. Then we'll, in the second webinar, talk about what to do during that meeting itself, and then how to follow up with that so that you can learn to do it and do it as often as you want to. Rinse and repeat is needed for as many clients as you'd like to out there. So that's kind of our agenda. That's what we're going to cover. All right. Now, quick little poll here. I asked the question, what do you sell? And just to recap for those of you who were not on the live event, we had speakers, trainers, consultants. We had people that sold legal services, insurance, health and wellness. Let's see here, distribution of manufacturing equipment. Let's see, we also had construction, home patio work, sales training. Let's see here. I'm trying to think. Health and wellness products and services. So we had a very wide. We also had folks that sell protective coatings and paint. So we had a very wide group of people. Ask who you sell to. Who's your game changer? We had CEOs, VPs of sales, doctors, attorneys. Let's see here. Key decision makers in human resources. VPs of sales, all different kinds of people that we sell to, and what is it you can do for them? Most everybody had some great answers along the lines of change their business, add to their bottom line, make them healthier, all kinds of great answers there. So that was a recap of the poll that we took to give you an idea that we had a real wide variety of people on our call. Now, the first question I had is how many of you have somebody that when you call, they pick up the phone like the lady in this picture, and they've got a big smile on their face because they really appreciate you and they appreciate what you do. And when you call, they always answer. And of course, everybody raised their hands. We all have people like that. But then I asked the question, how many of you have that person out there that when you call, they will not give us the time of day? They will not answer the phone. They will not answer emails. They will not answer anything. In other words, they're just totally non-responsive. And I asked the question, why is that? And the answers were things like they don't know who we are, but then it really kind of began to evolve into because they don't trust us or they don't perceive any value in our call. And that's where we're going. All right. really want to focus in on that whole idea of bringing value to our customers, making sure that they get value from every phone call, and that we begin to build a brand as being a value added provider from the very beginning. All right. So the whole reason why they don't answer is a lack of perceived value. And we want to make sure that we're bringing value to the table, and particularly things that they value, not what we value, but what they value. All right. So here's a quick little lesson in value-based selling. We break that down into 3 categories: issue, action, and impact. And probably more easily understood, what's the problem that our client has? What is it we do about it? And by the way, most salespeople, most consultants and folks that are on the call, you guys have a pretty good idea of what's the problem that our customer has and what is it we do about it. But what I think we fall down in, and I'm certainly guilty of this as well, is why do they care? Why should they care about our product? Now, we should tell them all kinds of reasons why we believe they should care, but we have to find out why is it they care? Why is our product a good fit for solving a problem they have? And so that really comes down to learning how to ask a lot of great questions, which we'll teach you today, and listening to the answer to those questions, and then prescribing a customized solution that solves their problem in a way that communicates something that they care about. All right. So issue, action, impact. What's the problem? What do we do about it? Why should they care? And then we divide our value propositions into 3 levels. First thing is a company or corporate level value proposition. And now if you're sitting out there going, wait a minute, I'm a solo entrepreneur, or solopreneur, I guess they call it nowadays. I'm a one-man show, one-woman show. I don't really have a company. Well, yeah, you do. All right. You have a company and you have a background or a history that gives you credibility in this field, I hope. If not, selling is not going to do you very much good if you don't have a level of expertise. But if you're a company, though, you could be talking about how big the company is, how long it's been in business, worldwide service. I mean, all different kinds of value propositions from a company level. Then we have the product or service value proposition, if you will. And then again, what is it our product or service does that impacts the personal life or the business life of our client? Now, again, most of us are fairly well versed in all of this, but we have to remember that our product and service probably does a lot of different things. And rather than, and we're going to talk about this, you'll hear me say it several times today, rather than getting a meeting with somebody and then doing what I call showing up and throwing up, just all kinds of information, hoping something sticks. What I want us to learn how to do today is ask great questions and then come back with a customized version of a proposal for them. All right. So our products and services have a value proposition, and then we have our own personal value proposition. What do we bring to the table personally? And I ask that question in our workshops all the time. And the answers I get are things like, well, I bring good products to the table, or I bring service to the table. That's not what I'm talking about. What do you personally have? Is it knowledge, experience, hard work, enthusiasm? How about character, integrity, ethics, all of those kinds of things? Very, very important these days. What is it you bring to the table that would cause a client to want to do business with you? And again, if you think about these 3 different levels, the company value proposition is kind of 30,000 feet, may or may not have a lot of impact. Product and services, let's call that 1,000 feet, obviously some impact there. But when we get clear about what the client values on a personal level, and we deliver that value to them ourselves as individually, then that's ground zero. That's right down on the deck kind of stuff, and very, very valuable and very powerful. So we want to keep those 3 key levels of value propositions in mind for the second part of this webinar, which is what do we talk about during that meeting? All right. And then we can also look at 2 types of different value propositions. Type 1, what we call a Me Too value proposition. That's where we do the same thing that a whole bunch of other people do. All right. For those of you who are on the call, there are tons of people that sell protective coatings. There's tons of people that sell compressors, tons of people that sell home remodeling, tons of people that sell health and wellness. I mean, I could go on and on with everybody. There's thousands of speakers out there that speak, and even in whatever subject matter you speak in, there's somebody that speaks in that. All right. If it's value to the business world out there or to people in general, somebody else besides you speaking on that. But here's the deal. All right. If we learn to ask good questions, find out what the client values, and then we tell a better story than our competitor, we can appear to have leverage. All right. We can appear to have leverage. So it's about learning to listen, ask good questions, and then proposing customized solutions that causes even a Me Too product or service or a Me Too value proposition to appear to have leverage. So I think even our Me Too products can appear to be better. Now, with that said, there are things that we do that nobody else does, or we do it better than other people do, and we can clearly, effectively communicate that. You have a paint product out there that nobody else can compare to. You have a health and wellness product out there that is has a unique way of accomplishing a goal. Our own business, I mean, we have designed very large multi-day sales training programs for some very high-profile clients. Not a lot of my peers can stand in front of a VP of sales and talk the kind of language that we can talk from an experiential standpoint, and we want to take advantage of that. All right, that's a hammer for us. That's where we have leverage and everything, and that's what we call a value proposition where there's some leverage. We call those hammers because they really have some strength that a Me Too value proposition does not have. Okay, all right. So here's our strategy. We're going to start off by sending a letter to that game changer decision maker. We're not going to send it snail mail. We're going to send a priority mail express, a UPS overnight letter. These are boxes here. You certainly can use a box if you really want to get somebody's attention. But here's the reason why. If I send a regular envelope, snail mail and everything, chances are it's going to get caught by a gatekeeper, an admin or executive assistant or somebody like that. They'll open it, read it, decide that the decision maker, the game changer, does not need to read that. And we're going to wind up in the circular file. If I send somebody one of these priority mail envelopes or boxes, it always ends up on the decision maker's desk. The gatekeeper, the admin, will not open that up. All right, that's going to end up on our decision maker's desk. They're going to open it up. So that's the strategy. Now, you're going to say, well, that's going to cost some money. Yep, it will. Cost $12, $14, $15, something like that. But if we're talking about somebody whose business could change the game for us, that's a very reasonable expense in order to make sure that the person we intend that to get to actually receives it. All right. So we're going to send it that way. That's part of our strategy. And inside that express mail envelope, all right, again, I don't care if you use UPS or FedEx or whatever, as long as you use something that comes in one of those real fancy looking envelopes or boxes, all right, inside that's going to be two things. One, going to be a very carefully crafted letter we're going to talk about here in a second. And two is they're going to wind up with some kind of a credibility piece. Now, not a sales piece. All right. I don't want to sell in here. It's going to be some kind of a credibility piece, if you will. And we'll give you some ideas what you can use there. Now, let's talk about our letter a little bit. Here's some of the basics that are going to go into the letter. And again, write it however you want to craft it. If you want me to take a look at it, send it to me. All right. I'll take a look at it and give you some feedback. But here's some of the basics that are going to go inside of that letter. All right. First thing is going to show something that we've done our homework. All right, we're going to show them we've done our homework. Here's what it's going to look like. There's going to be an opening statement that says, Dear Jim, I heard on a speech that you did, I read in your chairman's letter, in your letter to the board of directors, I read on your website, I saw on your website where, okay, you with me now? It shows we've done our homework. I noticed, okay, in Forbes magazine, we're showing them somehow, somewhere we saw or read or heard something about them that gave us a sense that we might be able to to help them. All right. It could look something like even better that Jim Jacobus told me I should call you. In other words, somebody referred us to them. So we're going to open up the letter with some kind of a statement that says that we have a legitimate reason to believe that we should be reaching out to them. Okay. And again, the more research we do and the more focused that beginning of that letter is, the more powerful it would be. Now, here's a suggestion for you. I always tell my sales guys this. If you've got a game changer, a company that would really make a difference to you, or just somebody you want to get them on, you want to speak at their conference, or you want to do their sales training, or you haven't got any business, but you want to get some business from them, go to Google Alerts and put the name of the contact in there and the name of the company and the name or the type of product and service they do. All right. And I do that for maybe 2 or 3 weeks or a month before I send the letter out. I'm looking for an article that gives me a wedge or something. You know, I read in an article that Forbes magazine did on you that one of the things that sets your company apart is that your salespeople are trained better than anybody else in the world. Okay. So something along that lines that says we were doing our homework, and Google Alerts is a great way to do that, by the way. I would do that on all of our game changers, all of your existing clients, all of your existing contacts. Just a neat way to stay in touch with stuff. And again, you see a great article on somebody, you can be a hero by sending it to them. Go, hey, by the way, saw this article, didn't know if you knew it was there. Great job. Or I saw this article, didn't know if it was there. I thought you might want to hear what the market's saying about, something that's not so good. If you give them bad news, but you're the one looking out for them, they'll appreciate that. All right. So something that says we did our homework or somebody referred us to them that gives us that reason to be there that we suspect we should at least be talking to them. All right. Now, once I do that, here's the request that's going to be in the letter. All right. I would like just 15 minutes of your time. Not 30 minutes, not an hour, anything like that, just 15 minutes. A couple of reasons why. First thing is, if they've had a lot of bad experiences with somebody showing up and throwing up all over them and wasting their time, 15 minutes, they can get rid of us if we're not any good. Okay? Second reason is 15 minutes is a reasonable amount of time to invest if indeed there might be an opportunity for somebody to help us if we're the decision maker. All right. So we're only going to ask for 15 minutes. And by the way, a couple things here. You can get a lot of information in 15 minutes. All right. I promise you that. We do role playing in our workshops, and we do actually a 10-minute call. And the sales reps, once we teach them this methodology, they're like, oh, I can't believe I got that much information in that much time. I mean, it's unbelievable. So 15 minutes is a lot of time. We can get a lot done. But also what I would tell you is if we do a good job, all right, in that 15-minute meeting, that 15-minute meeting many times can turn into a lot more than 15 minutes. And we've heard that happen over and over and over again. So, all right. So I'd like 15 minutes of your time to learn a little bit more about your business, your conference, your training, your manufacturing, whatever it happens to be. I want to learn a little bit more about you and your business to determine that if we work together, could we meet or exceed your expectations, and to find out whether or not your business would be a good fit for us. All right. So I want to learn a little bit more about your business, your conference, your training process, your manufacturing, whatever it is that would be a good fit for what we do. I want to learn more about that, you and that. I want to determine if we work together, could we meet or exceed your expectations? But then, gang, we've got to add this last one there. That's why I put all those exclamation points, all right? And I want to find out if your business would be a good fit for us. That will pique the interest of key decision makers more than anything else we might say or do. I've had tons of people say, I took your meeting simply because you said you wanted to find out whether I was a good fit for you. And I was wondering, why wouldn't I be? All right. So it's not arrogant or cocky. It's the way the conversation should go. I want to find out if I can exceed your expectations. I want to decide if your business is good for us. All right. So I want you to make that a habit. You'll find it's a very powerful thing to say, and it's going to help you in the process here. All right. So I've said all of that. Hey, look, I want a 15-minute meeting. I want to learn about you and your business. I want to find out if we can meet or exceed your expectations. And I want to find out if you're a good fit for us. I had 3 questions to ask you during that meeting. Question number 1, what do you expect from the companies you do business with? Number 2, what do you expect from the products or services you buy? And number 3, what would you expect from me as your sales rep? Okay. Now, you could translate that a number of different ways depending upon what your business is. Like I said, feel free to put that in a letter, send it to me as a PDF or an attachment, a Word doc. I'll take a look at it and I'll help you tweak it so that we're asking those 3 questions in a logical order, if you will. And by the way, if you'll notice, these 3 questions, they match up with our 3 different levels of value propositions. Okay? So let me kind of back up a little bit. I told the story in the live webinar, and I'll tell it here now. I read a book written by Hank Haney called The Big Miss. It was about Tiger Woods. And the book is really more about Hank's work with Tiger, coaching, trying to figure out how to get the most out of him, how they work together. Very little to do with Tiger's challenges, if you will, but a very fascinating story from a coaching standpoint. I do a lot of executive level coaching, so I really found it fascinating. He talked about Tiger's mastery of the golf swing. And what he said was, there's 14 clubs in a bag. And if you don't know a lot about golf, you probably can at least relate to the story, I think. So hang with me here. 14 clubs in the bag. One of them's a putter, but the other 13 are used to strike the ball to hit it a variety of different distances and everything. He said that Tiger could take those 13 clubs, and each one of those clubs, he could hit it 9 different ways. Here's what he meant by that. He could hit it low, medium, or high. He could hit the ball right to left, which is called a draw. He could hit the ball left to right, which is called a cut, or he could hit the ball dead straight. All right. So low, medium, high, left, right, straight is a combination of 9 different shots times 13 clubs. And he would say that Tiger Woods would practice, and in a practice session, he would make himself hit 10 in a row of each one of those before he moved on to the next sequential shot, if you will. To say that Tiger Woods had a mastery of the golf game is an understatement, all right? When we're talking about understanding the value that we bring to the table and communicating it effectively to a client using a structured methodology like this, we have to be so good at it so that when we ask the questions and the client responds, we know exactly what club to pull out of our bag and exactly what shot to hit with that club to bring value to the client based upon what they tell us matters to them. All right. And again, I call it a disease. I see it everywhere I go. Salespeople who believe that selling is showing up to a client, getting the opportunity to visit with them, and then throwing up on them, hoping that something they share sticks. As opposed to our methodology, which we're teaching you here, we're going to show up, we're going to ask a lot of questions. As a matter of fact, I'm going to tell you, we don't sell anything in that first meeting. We're just gathering data to determine, 1, could I exceed your expectations if we did business? And 2, would your business be a good fit for us? I want to learn about you and your business so that I can do those 2 things. All right. So this is the 3 questions that we want to ask. And again, we'll talk a little bit more about that in the meeting part of the webinar, if you will. It'll be the second piece to this webinar. All right. So for my speaker and trainer buddies, those 3 questions may sound something like this. What results do you want from your conference or your training initiatives? That's the company level question. What do you expect from your keynotes or breakout sessions? What would you expect from me as your speaker? All right. Or as your presenter? So again, just kind of a little tweak there for my speaker trainer buddies I know are on this call. All right, now closing that letter up. All right, so I told them I want 15 minutes. I want to learn more about them and their business to find out if I can exceed their expectations. Would they be a good fit for me? I want to ask you 3 questions. Question number 1, what do you expect from the company you do business with? Question 2, what do you expect from the products and services you buy? And question number 3, what would you expect from me? Now I'm going to close that letter like this. All right. I'll be calling you on, and again, you have to use your head on this. I'll be calling you next week. I'll be calling you on Monday. I'll be calling you the first of the month, whatever it is, to set an appointment to talk to you on the phone, to do a webinar, to visit face-to-face, whatever it happens to be. So I'll be calling you on Monday to set an appointment to visit with you face-to-face. I am really looking forward to learning more about you and your business, your conference, your training, whatever. Again, reiterate, I'm here to learn about you. The reason we're doing this, gang, what is that potential client, potential game changer's favorite subject? All right? It's not us. It's not my company. It's not your company. It's not your product, your service, my consultancy. It's not any of that. It's them and their business. That's their favorite subject. So we want to learn about that. We want to let them talk about their favorite subject as much as they want to. And again, such a contrast to that sales rep that shows up and throws up and talks about themselves and their business and their product and their service without ever finding out what the client needs. All right. That's why this is such a unique, different, and very, very powerful methodology. All right. So I'm going to be calling you on Monday to set an appointment to come visit with you face to face. I'm looking forward to learning more about you and your business, your conference, your training, whatever it happens to be. All right. Very important. No selling. No selling in the letter. The only thing I am trying to accomplish with this letter is to get appointment, to get 15 minutes. That's my goal. Nothing more, nothing less. I don't want to tell them about my company. I don't want to tell them about me. I just want to set an appointment because I have reason to think we could help them. I want to ask them questions about their business. I want to determine if I can exceed their, again, I'm repeating myself. You're with me though. I hope you're with me. All right. So no selling, nothing. Now, the credibility piece, let me give you some ideas here. All right. First thing would be like a third party endorsement that's very specific, a letter of recommendation, an email that says, hey, Jim, I really think you ought to talk to Scott Doring over at Axel Nobel. He's the VP of sales over there. I think you would really like what you do. I might say, look, can you do me a favor? Would you put that in an email to me? Could you send that in a letter to me that I could use to send to Scott in order to set up a meeting? Any kind of a specific third-party endorsement, or it could be a third-party general kind of endorsement. You might put together a list of quotes from people that are like the client that you're trying to get the 15-minute with, that talks about the value we brought to the table, that uses terms like ROI, value, what we delivered, in all those kinds of things. Some kind of a third-party endorsement, a case study or a white paper, something like that. That really, again, if you're going to do a case study or a white paper, it needs to be factual in nature that brings value to the client, not a sales piece. All right. We don't want this credibility piece to be a sales piece. I don't want a brochure or anything like that. I want something very simple, very understated, but says that we bring value to people like our game changer. You with me? Okay. Some kind of a picture of us speaking at a conference, a picture of a boat that, was painted with Axel Nobel International Paint product, a client that uses DXP equipment, whatever it is, some kind of a picture of something they can relate to that says that, hey, these guys do work in my industry, right? So some kind of a picture like that would be really great. Picture says 1,000 words. Any kind of a well thought out sum of our client list, all right? You can just simply put together a list of clients in their industry. Call it some of our client family. Put together a sheet of paper with logos of clients that you do business with that are like them. Same industry they're in, same size they are, same customer focus that they have. Something that they can relate to, again, very simply done, very understated. Bottom line, we want all of it to say that we bring value to the table. All right. We bring some value that they should at least invest 15 minutes, which is not much time. They can bail if they need to. 15 minutes to determine whether or not we could exceed their expectations, yada, yada, yada. Okay. With me? All right. Now, before the meeting happens, okay, before we go, like say, let's say I have a meeting tomorrow afternoon. I may send it first thing tomorrow morning. If I have a meeting tomorrow morning, I'm going to send it somewhere mid-afternoon today. I'm going to send an email that basically, again, confirms a time and place. Phone at 3 o'clock, your office at 1 o'clock. Okay. I'm going to confirm that I'm going to be asking 3 questions. Just want to make sure these are the 3 questions I have for you. I want to learn more about you and your business. I want to find out if we have a good fit. All right. So confirm the meeting with an email, confirm the agenda with the 3 questions, confirm the fact that we want to see if we can exceed their expectations, that we have a good fit. And by the way, this is just good practice. It's very professional in nature, and it will set us apart from most of the other folks out there who don't take time to do it. By the way, from time to time, it will save you that drive all the way across town that takes an hour when that client wound up with some kind of a conflict, if you will. So good practice, save you a lot of time, save you a lot of money, sets the meeting up, sets the agenda, sets the tone, reconfirms the fact that we want to learn about them and we want to make sure we've got a good fit. So that is what we do to set up and get a 15-minute meeting with almost anybody. All right. There are very few people that won't take at least a 15-minute meeting if we do a good job of this. So I want you to try it. I want you to work on it. Use this out there. By the way, quick little note. I've always taught our sales reps, let's start off doing this in Idaho and Montana. And people always look at me like, what? If you've got a major game changer out there that would be huge for you, don't do this with them first. Go find some people you can practice on. I always have my sales reps call Montana and Idaho. Montana and Idaho meeting planners know who Jim Jacobus is because every sales rep I've ever had calls there first, all right? But let's practice this methodology with some people that might not be so critical so that we have confidence in it when we do reach out to that big, giant game changer that we're trying to get a hold of, okay? Like I said, if you want to send me your sample letter, you want to send me an idea of what you're going to put out there, your credibility piece, do that. There you've got my email address, jim@thesalesgladiators.com. Be glad to take a look at it, get on the phone with you, work over it. Be my pleasure to help you. Again, thanks for listening to the webinar. And I'm going to shut this one down, turn around, and do part 2, what to do in a 15-minute meeting to get the most out of it. Thanks for your time. I appreciate you. If you have any questions, let me know. Hope you're having a great day. Now go make something happen out there and use the stuff that we gave you. Hope you have a great day. Take care.